Hello everybody, it is another Monday, which means it is time for another upload for myself. We're gonna stick to the Monday thing. I think people seem to be okay with that. First, before we get into anything with this video, I just have to say thank you so much, genuinely, for all the support we got on that first video. Honestly, I was speechless. I didn't really know what was going to happen with that first video. I was really nervous to put it out there. I should have known better because I have such an incredible group of people that have supported me throughout my journeys with Foundation, and it was amazing seeing everybody kind of rally behind me. I have been doing YouTube for a while. I've never received such an outpour of fully positive support, just people that were so excited for this channel and getting behind me, and I was seriously emotional, just reading all the comments and seeing how excited people were about this, and it meant so much to me. So I really want to say before we get into this video, thank you so much for the support on that first video. It surpassed all of my wildest expectations, and I'm just really excited to keep plugging away at this channel and see where it goes. Another thing we need to get to, the giveaway that I was running on my Instagram for the first video, these three beautiful discs here. Shout out to Davis. I already messaged you. I think we already had correspondence, Davis. You were the winner of the giveaway, so just wanted to get that out there. I think I'm gonna do giveaways pretty often. If you don't follow me on Instagram, at TrevStaub on Instagram, make sure to follow me, because I wanna try to do giveaways at least monthly maybe, just to give back as much as I can because you guys support me so much. So yeah, make sure to do that. Okay, so there were so many comments on that first video. I tried to respond and like a bunch of them. I'm gonna try to continue doing that. Sorry if I didn't get to your comment, but I was trying to gauge sort of people's feelings about what type of content they wanted to see on this channel, and I definitely saw a lot of people who enjoyed the low-key, kind of chill, back and forth, conversational disc golf that we had in that first round. There was a lot of people that said they enjoyed that type of thing, so I think we're gonna go with that today. We're gonna kind of follow that route, but I saw a lot of other great suggestions. There were people that wanted to see the disc collection, some people that wanted coaching, and we're going to explore all of them, but let's get into today's video. So today we're out here at Lynchburg College, and let me set the scene a little bit for today. If you've read the title, you know this is going to be a video talking about forehands and practicing the forehand throw. I come from a baseball background. Before I got into disc golf, and even as I was playing disc golf, I've played competitive baseball for a very long time. I played all the way through high school at a pretty high level, so therefore, you know, the natural thing for me to be good at playing disc golf, you see it all the time with baseball players, is the forehand or sidearm throw. I even played middle infield in baseball. I was a second baseman. I threw a lot of baseballs from that side arm slot, really quick, wrist snappy throws. So the sidearm should have come very naturally to me. But when I started playing disc golf, the backhand came a lot quicker. It was a lot easier for me to pick up than the forehand throw. It took a lot of practice to try and get even just a serviceable forehand. And as my career's evolved, I've really yet to develop a really good forehand. There have been times where I kind of find magic in a bottle and I have like a month maybe where my forehand is really clicking, but it just comes and goes so much. It's like the timing is so precise and I can't quite get the mechanisms down, and it always fails me eventually. And I get to this point where I just can't get a forehand to do anything I want it to. So I'm out here at Lynchburg College today, and the reason being is because this is a 9-hole loop that every shot on this 9-hole course, you can throw the forehand, and the forehand actually works quite well on most of them. So my goal here is only forehands today, other than putts, and we're just gonna talk through the forehand together, kind of go along this round, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what I've been struggling with the forehand. I'm gonna try and work through it on camera. This can be an open discourse, you know, in the comments you can kind of chip in with your own advice, and we're gonna see what we can do today and just kind of explore that. So hole one might be a little tough to see, but it's about 250 feet, pretty straight away. This forehand calls for kind of just a straight forehand. I wanna just throw this and have it just go pretty straight. To give you a little bit of context, what I've been struggling with the most with my forehand is tight rotation. Sometimes I get a little too much wobble, and the biggest struggle for me is getting that nose up in the air. I struggle so much with following through and then having that hand flare up at the end. So those are the things I really need to get down. I also am looking to generate more power on my forehand throws because, like I said, I have that baseball background. I feel like I should be able to get a lot more oomph on it. My forehands go nowhere. So yeah, all right, we're gonna start with hole one here. I've got the slammer. I'm gonna try and smooth it down there, keep the nose down, see what happens. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So I missed a little bit left. It came out with just a bit of anhyzer, but the nose was down. I'm okay with that miss. It did have a lot of wobble though. All right, so we ended up just off to the left in the rough here. I want to set a few objectives for this round. This course is always so overgrown. That's why we don't film here anymore. I want to set a few objectives for this round because I think it's important to always set objectives especially when you're doing a practice round. But this round, the score isn't really my objective. My score is within 9 holes. I want to have, let's say 6 out of 9 holes, I want to have a quality forehand shot. Something that I feel like I executed what I'm trying to do. And I would say I did so on this hole. I didn't have my typical miss. I threw a pretty good shot. I'm really only 25 feet away from the basket for birdie. So I'll say 1 for 1 on that. But that's the objective today. And I always want to set those when we're playing any kind of disc golf round. All right, little straddle putt. I'm in the thick stuff a little bit, which is at this course, basically anything that isn't right next to the basket or the tee. That looks pretty good. Oh man, dang, I did what I wanted to there. I was trying to like start it up high right and then let it work its way left, but I just didn't give it enough pace. All right, we made par. You know what, we'll make one score-based objective, and that's no bogeys. Bogey-free is the other objective, because it's not like super score pertinent, but at this course, I should not make bogeys, even with just forehands. Hole 2 out here is a perfect hole for me to kind of practice the techniques that I'm working on right now, especially with the nose angle, because we have about a 220-foot shot right at the tunnel there, but there's just an ever so slight uphill gradient. And I think those are the toughest ones to try to keep the nose in a reasonable angle. Like, it's okay to match the gradient, but you don't want to like think, oh, it's uphill and get carried away. And another thing, one of my big misses with the forehand can be an early release, and you cannot go right on this hole. That's like the worst spot. So I'm going to try and go zone, ESP zone, and just like kind of power it, flex it a little bit and get it up there. I have aced this with a forehand before this hole, so maybe we'll do that. Okay, you know what? That was a good nose angle, good rotation. I threw it flat though when I was trying to give it a little bit of flex, but that was still a well-executed forehand shot. I'm not mad about that one. I would say 2 for 2 on shots that were acceptable is the right word really for this. Similar to hole 1, we've got a little bit of like a circle's edge birdie look, which is okay. That's fine. We're working on a skill that we're not great at, so if we're getting birdie looks, that's a good result. Let me know also in the comments, you know, you're gonna hear me refer to the shot as forehand. I know a lot of people call it sidearm, and then some of you heathens even call it a flick. I've never really been on board with that one. I think it just, I don't know. I don't really know why, I just haven't. But let me know what you call it. I think sidearm, I've always called it forehand because it sounds more athletic. And also sidearm, as a baseball player growing up, I have a little bit of a negative connotation because coaches would just scream at you if you were throwing too many sidearms. They wanted you to come over the top, especially when you were younger. Didn't look nearly as cool. But all right, here we go. Ow. They moved this dead tree over here into the rough, right for me to land at. We got another straddle putt. There it is. Oh, that was a decent putt. I'm not too mad about that. I don't know about y'all, but when I miss a putt high middle, I'm never gonna be too frustrated at that, especially as a guy who's missed most putts in his life, like low left. All right, another par, 2 for 2 on sidearms executed. Hopefully I mess up eventually so we can like get into the learning part. All right, before we go on to the next hole is actually out by this open field. So I figured I'm gonna throw a few forehands to try and give you a visual on what I'm trying to correct and just give you a little context here. Since so far we've just thrown 2 approach disc forehands anyways, which is a lot easier than with drivers. So I've got 3 drivers here, throw a few forehands, try to give you an idea of what we're doing. Plus I gotta let this guy play through, so. Okay, that one wasn't too bad. That was slightly nose up, but pretty good. Let's try another one here. I love how I'm like trying to make my mistake. I just want you to understand that like usually my forehands do bad. Here we go. There's like deer out in the distance looking. Okay, that one was getting a little nose up. That one, like, I'm trying to throw these flat right now, so like that one got a little nose up on me. I'm gonna really get after one. Maybe that'll help me, like, that'll expose me a little bit. I'm smoothing it too much. Okay, there we go. See what's happening? I take these high-speed drivers. That one I'm literally just trying to throw flat and hard, and the nose gets a little bit up. And if you know, disc golf, the nose is not forgiving. If you let it get up, you're gonna get no distance. Those high-speed drivers will stall on you, they will crash on you, and you will just go nowhere. Hey man, you can come play through. I should also mention that I struggle the most with my forehands when I'm trying to throw flat or slight hyzer releases. That's why you'll see me often, and I think you see this with a lot of beginners, I'll take something stable like this warbird and basically just crank over on it because I'm going to get distance out of it. It's going to fly real nice, but it's a lot easier for me to get the nose angle down when I feel like I'm chopping across the disc. It's these kind of finesse lines where your wrist wants to get up. So I'm just trying to figure out how to like stop that. I will say as I get further into this process, I think one big part of the equation is my follow through. I think whenever I'm able to really focus on getting through the disc all the way and finish my shot, it does help me not have those early left releases. So that's kind of what we're doing. And as I say that, I follow through and throw the highest one yet. So maybe not. All right, back to the main event. Now, one other quirk, we'll call it, about my forehand you may have noticed, especially if you've seen me throw them in the past, is that I usually get really low to the ground. So low, in fact, that there have been times where I scrape my knee on a concrete tee pad. Very fun. So, and that's my body basically trying to overcompensate for the fact that I'm worried about the high miss. But I think that basically turns into my like arm then overcorrecting that and then throwing high to counteract my body being low. I think that's what golf mostly is like overcorrecting something, but then your body is smart enough to overcorrect it back and you're just fighting against the whole time. So that's really fun. So I do need to try to like almost think maybe staying more upright and throwing slightly downhill, like at least feel that way, and I'd probably throw more level. So this hole is my least favorite hole in all of Lynchburg, all that I've ever played. It's a par 4, it's like 390 feet, but once you get to the mouth of that gap, the rest of it is all reason and logic is all out the window. It's just like, it's a jungle. I'm gonna try and throw like a pretty aggressive shot into the mouth of the gap with the driver, because that's what we're working on. But normally I would go with an approach disc, but I can't keep hiding behind the wall that is a zone or a slammer. I need to really go for it here. So luckily I've got my my chalk bag back on my bag from Atlas, because I need the chalk. It is hot out. I'm hoping my camera doesn't overheat. All right, here we go. Oh my, whoa, that was bad. I don't even know. Okay, this is important moment here. This is an important round philosophy moment. So that throw was atrocious. I tried to overcorrect myself and I like wrist rolled it over because I was trying to like force the disc down. That shot was so bad that it deserves me to throw another shot. When you're playing a practice round that is bent on a certain skill, you should make sure you're working on that skill. Now, a lot of people come out trying to practice a course, and if they throw a bad shot into the woods, they simply throw another shot, wait till they get a good one, throw even 2 or 3 more shots, then play from that lie instead of the bad one. If you are playing for score, you're trying to learn a course, or you're tournament prepping, you should play from the bad lie. You should learn all parts of the course, you should scramble. In this scenario, where I'm trying to work on a specific skill, I should still play from that lie. That's just good practice anyways, but I should throw a second forehand shot to make sure that I'm still trying to like learn during the round. You don't want to just like build up frustration through bad shots the whole round and leave thinking, well, what the heck was the point of that? But that puts me at 2 out of 3 of good forehands today. And you know what? That wasn't a great forehand, but it was serviceable. It was at least low and kind of flat. Okay, what's funny here is, so we've made it to our lie, we're pinched off. You can see the mouth of the gap is like kind of out to the right a little bit. I now need to throw like an anti-forehand into the gap. But what's funny is, anytime you get a shot with a forehand where the angle gets up here and I'm trying to like hook it around stuff, I'm really good at that. I would consider it one of my strengths. I can't throw the flat simple shot, but I can do these. And I'm not convinced that one's harder than the other. I'm not really sure, but I'm usually pretty good at these. This would be a great timing for me to mess it up, but I'm trying to give this height. This is a Z Extreme, very stable. I'm giving it a ton of angle, a ton of height. I'm trying to cut it into the woods. I think that was pretty good. I ran kind of into a low-hanging branch, but I think I'm in there. But like, I don't struggle with those shots. It's just a lot more natural for me. This is actually great because like, I usually don't end up in this good of a spot after 2 shots, even when I'm playing like and throwing any shot I want. You know, I'm not restricted to the forehand, but I'm gonna try and take a zone OS and like pitch it up there. There's not really a lot of good lines, especially how far up I got. I'm just kind of like at a loss for what to do. So I'm just gonna try and get the zone OS near the basket. We're just gonna kind of ante it around here. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, okay, I think I put it under the basket. Hey, that's not bad a par. Not a bad par at all. The only problem is got to keep the focus because the 2 shots that I threw well on that hole were shots that I'm already good at. And then the drive stunk, and that's what I'm working on. So not a good hole. I mean, this place is so overgrown. The T sign is like being overtaken by the shrubs and the trees. We're on to hole 4 now, full transparency. There was a fallen tree that was covering the main path, and so I got lost for a couple minutes on a different path. But we're here now, we've arrived in the clearing. Another really good hole for this video. I thought about the course I wanted to do this at, but this course really works out great because now we have a slight downhill. I'd say a little more than slight. It's a pretty significant downhill slope to the basket, just straight away. So now, this is a very big struggle for a guy like me who misses upwards, because now I really need to get down on the disc and try to match that angle of the slope a little bit. Even a slightly nose up shot on a downhill hole, I mean, that's Stall City and I'm going into the woods. So we're taking a destroyer. And by the way, I don't know if I've said this already, but if you are good at forehands, and I know there's so many of you out there, please be in the comments, give me some form advice. We can work through this together. All right, I'm gonna try and get over on this one. You know what, it was close. It's gonna come back, the disc is forgiving. Okay, it was definitely extremely low and a little turned over, but I'm okay with extremely low because I'm trying to over exaggerate the fixes in my game. And as long as I'm on the right side of extreme with those fixes, I'm not mad about that. And the result of that shot is pretty good. I'll give that a half point for execution. So that puts me at 2.5 out of 4. So this ended up being a really solid drive. I'm happy with this. I got decent distance. It is very downhill, but I've probably got about 200 feet in. This is probably the first shot of the day that I would not ever recommend a forehand on this throw, but it'll allow me to practice something, which is that flat release. And this time I'm gonna have to get a disc to actually move from the right to the left. This is a high level of difficulty shot. I have my slightly understable buzz. I'm gonna try and start it wide, flat, or with a little bit of anhyzer, and just let it kind of coast in. I think anything that lands within 40 feet of the basket here, with the difficulty of this shot and my skill level, would be a success. That's another thing about these practice rounds. You gotta set realistic goals. This is just not even the right shot, but I'm trying to practice a certain skill, so let me widen my target area a little bit and give myself a little more of a realistic goal. Can't defeat yourself too much out here. The trees will do that for you. All right, I actually feel pretty confident in this shot. Here we go. The buzz on a forehand feels pretty great. And I released it on hyzer. See, that was about the worst thing I could do. I don't even know if that stayed in frame, it went so left. So another one where I'm gonna throw a second shot because that was just not even remotely helpful, and I need to learn from my mistake. I'm gonna take a flippier disc in the Supra, just give it a little more height, but I really need to throw this like more flat. Okay, that one also came out on hyzer. It's flippy enough that it's gonna forgive me a little bit. Gosh, I just can't get myself to commit to it. Another bad one. We're gonna try this again. I got one more mid-range that'll work. I got my rock now. I need to just throw this flat. Miss left. Like, you gotta get to a point in your practice where you're just like, I'm gonna miss the way that I would rather miss, because at least I did something right. There we go, that was much better. Okay, a little bit high, but it coasted left, and it's gonna settle down. Pretty close to 40 feet. Okay, it took 3 times, but at least I was able to drill what I was trying to do and get a flatter release. If that had been a little bit lower, that could have been really nice. All right, so we're set up on hole 5 now, and this is actually another great hole. I mean, it's funny when I set up these camera shots, this course is so grown in, like it just looks like a jungle, but I promise there's a good hole somewhere in there. What we have now is a downhill that then goes to uphill. So I'm just giving like all the different angles to try and throw these forehand shots on. I've got a T-bird in my hand, and I'm trying to throw this one at this is a hole where I have a downhill then an uphill. So like the last hole was downhill all the way. I'm trying to match that slope. On this hole, it eventually goes back to uphill. The basket finishes almost at level with me. So I'm really just trying to throw a level shot. I do need to give this a little bit of flex, let it pan to the left a little bit. This is a difficult shot, another very high level of difficulty shot. Ooh, you know what? I actually love that. Get through. Ooh. I almost parked that. That was actually, you know, when it first came out of my hand, I didn't think I hit it right, but then again, my hand probably doesn't even know what the feel of a good release on a forehand is. So maybe if I feel like it's bad, it is good. But it had the perfect amount of turn. It made it through the wall of the trees. It was a good height, good nose angle, and I've got a birdie putt. That was definite success, so that puts us at 3.5 out of 5 for success. To give you a little more context, so you can see I'm following the fairway now, and then I had to get through this wall of trees. If you couldn't see that. I actually ended up beating one of the kind of the left gap there. I didn't go right down the middle, but that's okay. If you make it to the wall of trees here with some height, you have a good result. And my disc is up there about 20 feet, so this is a really good shot. And this is a good hole to get. A little bit low, but it stayed up in the air, put enough rotation. Hey, that's a first birdie. This next portion of the course, starting with hole 6 here, is gonna be kind of like the power training session, because these next 3 shots, especially this one, I need to get enough power on this forehand or I'm in a lot of trouble. This one is technically a par 4. It's only 370 feet, but it's uphill slightly. And I need to get above that little like wall of trees and shrubs out there and land in the clearing beyond it. If I do, easy birdie. If I don't, not fun. Oh. I fear I may not see that disc again. I just ripped it so far left, you probably didn't even catch it on camera. Just stuck my finger. To be fair, I kind of ripped it. It was not a bad throw, but it's so left. There we go. Look at that. Go a little bit. Okay, that was great. That's what I wanted to do. Maybe I just wasn't aiming. Sometimes you forget how to aim. You're thinking about so many other things and you're like, oh yeah, I probably should have thought of where I'm trying to throw the disc. Okay, after a bit of searching, I did find that Raider. I was a little scared for a second I was gonna lose it. I was in one of those lies that's so bad there's just nothing to be done. So I just pitched it back because I was like, hey, let's stay honest, but I want to play a shot that actually makes sense. Ah, sweat. It's hot out here. I'm tired of it. So we're gonna try and get redemption on that shot I messed up earlier with the buzz, and we're trying to like just softly hook it around the trees here. It should be pretty. Okay, my camera may or may not have, but definitely did overheat just then, but we're back. Ah, so much sweat. My buzz op shot ended up in a pretty good spot. We got a little putt here. Not bad at all. Ooh. Oh man. Let's hit the band there. That was a good. The tee is getting so overgrown on this next hole. I hope you can see at least where I'm aiming, but it's just a big left to right shot. A lot of power needed though, but I mean, the tee is. You know what? I'm really proud of that effort. That was really good. Okay. +1. What does that put me at? Yeah, I'm really proud of that last shot. You know, I threw it as low as I could. This is actually very far for a drive for me on this hole, especially forehand. And all I have left is this little dink. And I didn't throw that so well. All right, I was being slightly dramatic. This is not too bad. Little straddle putt. Well, never mind. It's a little tough. Let's put it through the pole. There we go. All right, nice putt. That's technically a birdie. I think that last forehand was my favorite and best one yet. I'm starting to come to the realization that my solution, at least for now, is just over exaggerating, feeling like I'm throwing downhill, trying to stay up tall and throw downhill, and that's helping my body level out right now. You know, I wish there was a more glamorous fix than like just try and chuck it into the ground, but sometimes you have to just over exaggerate. You know, at least if I'm throwing it into the ground, and even though that's extreme, it's better than the miss, or it's the opposite of the miss. The next hole here, hole number 8, 2 more to go. This one I'm trying to shoot it out this gap with hyzer, and now I'm trying a new technique, something I've liked lately, which is taking something really flippy. I have this honey and just throwing it hard on hyzer and trusting it to flip up. I don't have a lot of arm speed, so I need to go pretty flippy to get a hyzer flip, especially with a forehand. Yeah, we're gonna go with the honey. Ooh, okay, I threw that beautifully. I actually flipped it up too much. I threw that, I think, just better than I expected I was, and so I flipped it up too much, but it was a really clean release. I'm happy with that. Another important lesson, especially when you're working on correcting an old mistake, is just because a shot didn't end up in the right place doesn't mean I didn't succeed at what I was trying to do. I'm used to that disc not even being able to flip up all the way. So therefore, because I threw it so well, the disc didn't quite do what I expected, but that doesn't mean I didn't throw a good shot. And that's another thing that's important when you're doing these practice rounds, is separate what you're actually trying to accomplish from just your score to par. All right, just a quick pitch to the hole from here. Nothing really much to it. Might have gone in. Ooh, pretty good. I'm gonna give that forehand a success. Like I was saying, I threw it really well. I think that puts me at like 5.5 out of 8 on the day, which means we only need half of a good throw in the last hole to hit our goal. A lot of rhyming there. All right, this last hole, hole 9, is like a very short dog leg left. Not really a forehand play at all, except for the forehand roller. The only forehand we haven't thrown today. We got the stalker here. Just gonna try and cut it over to the left. Used to be decent at these in college because I always threw it in the woods. Hey, that wasn't too shabby. A little early and a little left, but not a bad result. I think that's good enough for half of a point. 6 out of 9 on the day for successful forehands. So that's a success. Just outside the circle, not too bad. Let's try and make it our last putt of the day with a little stepper. Another work in progress. Ooh, How about that? A rare step putt make. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for today's video. I think a success. Let me know what you thought about this video. I saw a lot of comments from the first video that said they liked me just kind of playing through the course, talking to the camera, that kind of vibe. So I tried to accomplish that again with this video. Sort of a laid back, more long form, relaxed round. I also tried to implement a little bit of coaching with this video, kind of working on the forehand. So let me know what you thought about that in the comments below. I'm still feeling out what kind of content everybody wants, and make sure to let me know that in the comments. I'll be down there looking. I always want to take inspiration from the audience and what you want to see. If you like this type of round where I was working through something in my own game while just playing disc golf and talking to the camera and talking through it, I've got a lot of things I can work on in my game. I'm sure you know that by now. So we could definitely run one of these back. Some lessons we learned today from the forehand video. I think just the big one was trying to stay upright and throw downhill. I was having a lot of success with that, just trying to avoid that wrist coming up and popping out. I think my biggest struggle is still figuring out how to get more power, like where to really bring the disc back, and also just rotation. Some of those flicks, whoa, I just said flicks. Some of those forehand shots I threw, you saw in like hole 5 or 4, one of those two, still getting a little wobbly. I think a lot of my drives do. So if you're a better forehand player than me, I'm sure there's a lot of you. Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, just want to give another huge thank you to everybody for the support of this channel so far. I really look forward to making this content for you, and hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you next Monday with another video.